Alright everyone, in this episode of Anatomy of a Scam, ang pag-uusapan natin is fractals. Now, if there's one teaching ni Senior Spyfrat na madalas nako-confuse ng mga tao or nami-misinterpret, it's fractals, no? And I don't blame them kasi medyo nakakalito talaga siya. So what we're striving to do in this particular video is to make it as objective as we can while still maintaining yung quote-unquote creative or artistic aspect ng paghahanap or pag-i-spot ng fractals. Okay? So let's start, no? Ano nga ba ang fractals? Now, the internet defines a fractal as a never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. They are created by repeating a simple process over and over in an ongoing feedback loop. Driven by recursion, fractals are images of dynamic systems, the pictures of chaos. Fractal patterns are extremely familiar since nature is full of fractals. For instance, trees, rivers, coastlines, mountains, clouds, seashells, hurricanes, snowflakes, and so on, no? Now, this is a lot of complex words and ang basically lang naman na sinasabi nito, isang fractal is something na mostly magkamukha. Okay? Pero hindi exactly the same. Like ang mga puno, 'di ba? Mga rivers, lahat sila medyo magkakamukha. Like if I take a coconut tree and put another coconut tree beside it, they are more or less the same, 'di ba? But they have differences between them. No two coconut trees will be the same. Same with snowflakes. They look the same, but if you look closely, no two snowflakes are ever exactly the same. Okay? So doon nakukuha yung concept ng fractal. Kaya yun yung terminology na ginagamit natin. Because when we look at charts, they may look similar, they may look mostly the same, but regardless of ano man ang pilit natin, they will never be exactly the same. Okay? Now, in Senior Spyfrat's arsenal, fractals are defined as charts that exhibit the same behavior and patterns over an extended period of time that one could use as a potential guide or quote-unquote crystal ball to help them possibly anticipate what type of move the market could perform in the future. Okay? In some ways, it can be considered akin to deja vu. So ano ibig sabihin nito? Hinahanap ni Senior Spyfrat yung mga charts na parang pag nakita mo, parang nakita ko na to dati ah. Parang familiar sa akin tong pattern na to, tong movement na to, tong behavior na to. Okay? And then we can compare those charts and use yung chart na nauna na. 'Di ba? Yung nangyari na as a potential guide or roadmap bilang kung ano ang posibleng pwedeng gawin nung chart na humahabol pa lang. Okay? If that doesn't make sense right now, I promise it will make more sense when we get to yung example natin mamaya. No? So, does this mean na kailangan yung chart pareho ang itsura? Diba? Hindi, no? If ipipilit nyo talaga na kailangan super pareho, wala kayong mahahanap. As I said, by definition, fractals are something that are mostly the same but not exactly the same. Okay? Now, what fractals are not, no? Let's set a few things straight. Number one, they are not 100% exact. Tulad nung kanina ko pa pong dinidiin, hindi nyo mai-expect na, itong chart na to, kailangan maging sobrang kamukha niya itong kabilang chart na to. It's just not possible, no? Iba-iba pa rin. Yung move ng ganito, yung move ng ganyan, they may be slightly similar or they may be mostly similar, but they will never be exactly the same. Okay? They are not 100% accurate. At the end of the day, kahit na may nahanap tayo na charts na medyo similar yung patterns sa iba pang chart, it doesn't necessarily mean na yung chart na nahuli kailangan sumunod dun sa chart na nauna. Okay? In the market, it's very important to remember that the price, that the market does not have to do anything. Okay? Wala po silang pakialam sa mga indicators natin. Walang pakialam ang market sa mga fractals natin. Walang pakialam ang market sa mga theories natin. The market will do whatever the market wants to do. And no amount of pagpilit, pagdabog, pagtampo ang makakapagbago nun. Alright? Next, they are not trade signals. Meaning, just because I see two charts that are fractals that are mostly similar, it doesn't necessarily mean na dapat pipindutin ko na agad yung button. At the end of the day, it's still important na bago nyo po ito i-trade, pasok sa parameters nyo or pasok sa parameters ni Senior Spyfrat yung trina-trade nyo para hindi po wasu-wasu lang ang pagpasok natin. Hindi yung, wala akong matrade ngayon so may extra akong pera. Sige, pasok na lang tayo dito. Medyo kamukha naman yung ganitong chart Wag po ganon, no? That's a good way to burn your portfolio. They are subjective. Meaning, there are likely going to be incidents na sasabihin ni Senior Spyfrat na, etong chart na to, tsaka tong chart na to, fractal, pero hindi kayo mag-agree. And vice versa. You might see charts that you feel are fractals, but Senior Spyfrat or myself might not agree. And that's okay. You need to understand that there's an art to this. The more you look at it, the more experience you become at it, the easier it is to spot yung mga fractals na hinahanap nyo. After all, kahit naman magkamukha yung dalawang chart na yan, pero wala naman tayong magagawa doon sa nangyayari sa kanila, wala rin namang kwenta Diba? So they are subjective and you have to give yourself time to develop your skills kung hinahabol nyo na maging kasing experience o kasing skilled ni Senior Spyfrat. It's not going to be yung isang gabing trabaho. Pareho na. Okay? Now, with regards to this, kung meron po kayong tanong, meron kayong mga gusto i-compare, please, wag pong mag-atubili na mag-post sa comments section or kung talagang nahihiya kayo doon, you can also try to tweet Senior Spyfrat, whose Twitter handle I've included in the description box below. Alright? Next, they work across all time frames. Ano ibig ko sabihin? Meaning, pwedeng yung magkamukhang chart, yung isa weekly chart, tapos yung isa naman hourly chart. It's still the same pattern. It's still the same chart. Okay? Madalas naririnig nyo sa internet na eto tsaka to, fractal. Pero magkaiba yung time frame na pinapakita nila. That's okay. Alright? Ganun talaga. Pwedeng magkamukha yung pattern, magkamukha yung behavior across multiple time frames or across different time frames, and those are still considered fractals. Alright? Now, before we go do sa example natin, I do need to point out na unfortunately in trading, the term fractal is used in different ways. Okay, minsan nakakalito, lalo na kapag first time nyo pa lang siya naririnig or hindi pa kayo gaano bihasa dun sa paggamit sa kanya, no? One way na nagagamit yung term na fractal sa internet or sa trading is sa Williams fractal. Ang Williams fractal is an indicator developed by Bill Williams that aims to detect reversal points and marks them with arrows. The Williams fractal indicator helps users determine in which direction price will develop. Now, I personally use Williams fractal, no? But it's not related with sa fractal in the way na paggamit sa kanya ni Senior Spyfrat. Okay? Ang fractal na ginagamit ni Senior Spyfrat is yun nga, yung magkahawig yung itsura ng dalawang chart in an effort to see if chart B will follow chart A sa ginalaw niya moving forward. Ang Williams fractal is more short-term. Okay? It's an indicator. Whereas the fractal that Senior Spyfrat uses is not an indicator. Okay? As far as I know, hindi nyo po mahahanap yung Senior Spyfrat fractal indicator online. Okay? So, I just wanted to bring this up to avoid any confusion moving forward para lang mas madali para sa inyo intindihin yung concept. Kasi ako personally back then, nalito ko dahil nga the word fractal can be used in so many different ways. Okay? So now that we have all of that straightened out, let's go to our example. So, bago tayo magpatuloy dun sa actual example natin, I wanted to show you this slide that was taken directly from one of Senior Spyfrat's presentation from before, no? Now, siya po mismo yung gumawa nito. Kaya, I wanted to use the exact same slide to really drive in the point. Kasi, ayaw ko naman na i-reinvent ko yung example tas meron akong ma-miss na detail na gusto po niyang ipakita sa inyo along the way. Now, let's observe itong fractal ng sugar 15 minutes chart sa MPI na daily chart. As you can see, dito sa orange na rectangle, yung behavior niya was very similar. Dito sa left side, di ba? Nagkonso, nauntog sa B-band, bumaksak. Dito rin po, nagkonso, nauntog sa spy bands or sa B-bands, bumaksak. After natin bumaksak, anong nangyari? Tinag ulit yung B-band. Dito, makikita natin, di ba? Yung parang lightning bolt na drawing. Tapos dito yung orange na line. Okay? Tinag ulit siya sa ilalim, nag-pull back. So, ang drawing dito ni Senior Spyfrat was, it did an inverted head and shoulders pattern, no? So, nung nangyari yung similar na pattern dito sa MPI, the question arose once again. Magbubuo ba siya ulit ng inverted head and shoulders pattern dahil nakita na natin yung nangyari sa past? Okay? In this particular instance, it didn't. Okay? If you go back and look, MPI, nauntog siya dyan, trinay niya umangat konti, tas bumaksak din, and from here, as we all know right now, nasa 3 point something na lang ulit yung price. Okay? So, hindi po porket nangyari siya before, may similar kayo nakita, ibig pong sabihin, kailangan nyo na kagad pasukin na quote-unquote trade signal na yon. Inuna ko po itong ipakita para na rin parang mambuhos ng cold water that this is not the holy grail. This is not to be used to preempt something. It helps you spot a potential trade idea, pero at the end of the day, before you execute, you still want to wait na umayos muna yung chart, sumang-ayon muna siya sa expectations ninyo before jumping in. Okay? So now let's move on to the actual example. So for our main example, we're going to discuss the fractal ng Bitcoin and gold. So again, I've taken the liberty of using slides directly from Senior Spyfrat's presentation to make sure that I don't miss out on key details that I want to discuss regarding fractals. Now, as you can see dito sa left side natin, this was the gold chart. Nakita niyo yung naka-square, di ba? Nakalagay dyan yung duration. That's from 1970 hanggang 1996. Now, if you were wondering, this is the monthly chart. Kaya ganito itsura niya. Mukhang mas maikli. Okay? Now, on the right side, you can see Bitcoin followed a similar pattern, no? 'Di ba? Nag-ipon ng konti, like so, ipon, move to the upside. Tapos nag-form tayo ng one way to describe it would be a descending triangle. Okay, nag-form tayo ng descending triangle. Now, sa case ng gold, once we broke out, tumuloy-tuloy na. Sa case ng Bitcoin, as you can see, nag-consolidate pa tayo ng konti, albeit in an ascending manner, hindi lang to naka-zoom in right now, prior to price taking off. Okay? Sabi nga ni Senior Spyfrat, parabolics exist in various space and time. Meaning, kahit na weekly chart tong Bitcoin and monthly chart ang gold, fractals, at least the definition that Senior Spyfrat uses, remains the same. Okay? Now, nakikita nyo dito, umabot to all the way hanggang 9,800 something, no? Now, in this next slide, ipinakita ni Senior Spyfrat kung paano nag-mirror yung gold at yung Bitcoin on the way up. Now, kung mapapansin nyo, may orange circle dito at may orange circle dito, orange square and orange square dito, and so on, no? So, these correspond to the moves of the same shape and color that the chart is in. Meaning, dito, ano nangyari? Nagkaroon tayo ng brief consolidation. Ito rin, brief consolidation prior to price pushing higher. After price push higher, ano nangyari? Nagkaroon tayo ng pullback sa point of origin. Ito rin, pullback into point of origin. In fact, nag-shape nga to na parang inverted head and shoulders. Diba? Kung nakikita nyo, ito rin. Diba? Makikita nyo na parang nag-shape siya ng inverted head and shoulders prior to breaking out. Tapos once nag-break out, ano nangyari? Long candles, tas konso, ito rin. Long candles leading into a slight consolidation. Diba? See how they mirror each other? They're mostly the same, but they're not exactly the same. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina sa pag-define natin. Important yon. What we're after is the type of behavior, tas yung similarity sa pattern that we could check to see kung okay, tutuloy ba to this way? At kung tumuloy siya in a certain way, then perhaps there's something we can learn from the past in order to be able to trade that particular issue more efficiently moving forward. Now, sa next slide, makikita nyo more of the same, no? So, dito, yung itsura niya, di ba? Yung gold, ipon, move to the upside, di ba? May ipon, slowly moving to the upside. Tapos yun na nga, yung circle, yung rectangle, si rectangle na blue, di ba? Tapos yung katuloy dito, mapapansin nyo, yan na nga yun. Nagpatuloy siya. Tumuloy ito to the upside here. Ito rin, tumuloy na. Nagkonso sandali, then we broke to the upside. Sumusunod dun sa script. Alright? And then finally, in the final slide, makikita nyo how it reacted. Tingnan nyo how gold reacted. We went up, nag-form tayo ng top, di ba? Dito rin, went up, nag-form tayo ng top, pulled back dito sa unang level. Okay? Dip to the second level here. Nakita nyo yung dalawang lines. We dip there prior to price moving up again. Dito rin, prior to price moving up again. Okay? Now, I cannot stress enough yung importance ng similarity ng pattern, similarity ng behavior, but the charts are not exactly the same. Marami na ako nakita or marami na ako narinig na nagkukwento ng fractal asking Senior Spyfrat, eto 10% yung ginalaw, di dapat dito 10% din yung ginalaw natin. Hindi po ganon, no? Hindi po talaga magiging eksakto, magkakambal yung dalawang chart. Okay? They will be very, very similar, but they will still be somewhat different. Okay? Meron pa ring unique quality ang bawat chart na hindi mawawala. Kasi kung gagayahin lang ng chart ang bawat isa, down to the last dot na super verbatim, then trading would be extremely easy. We just need to follow the pattern. Unfortunately, hindi po ganon, no? That's why ang ginagawa nitong fractal is it helps us anticipate what might happen next because of what we've seen in the past. And should that happen, meron na tayong idea on how we're going to trade it and what we might expect moving forward based on what we've seen before. Okay? So I hope medyo clear naman po tong explanation ko, no? I really went out of my way talaga na sundan yung slides si Senior Spyfrat because I wanted to stay true sa pagtuturo niya rather than showing examples for myself that I view as fractal pero Senior might not. Kasi syempre, ang important naman dito is na i-impart natin kung ano ang tinuturo ni Senior, kung paano po niya nakikita ang bagay-bagay more so than how I might see them. Okay, so dito po nagtatapos yung video natin about fractals, no? I hope na mas naliwanagan nyo na kung ano ang fractals, at least in the way that Senior Spyfrat uses and defines them. Okay, if meron kayong mga tanong, or if you want more examples, kasi napansin nyo isang example lang binigay ko, no? As always, it's because of the time constraints that I have for these videos. But if you want more examples or meron kayong confusion or meron kayong mga tanong, please feel free to post them in the comment section below and I'll be sure to forward them to Senior Spyfrat kasi baka may maitulong siya. Baka meron siyang mga naipon na collection of images that he can share to you guys of more examples ng fractals that you can use moving forward. Okay? So wag pong mahihiya, post all of them in the comment section below. And as always guys, maraming salamat po sa panonood. I really appreciate it. Good luck and happy trading!